Let's shake, rattle, and roll. Oh, not that it got all my... That's pretty cool. Hey, everybody. Oh, I'm so excited for this amazing special guest that we are kicking off for the IG Live Talk. Hey, Jerry, I miss you, girl. Girl, I got so much to tell you, but aside the point, I'm an archival producer. Still going. I'm still trying. I'm still going. But I'm excited for today's IG Live Talk that we are going to kick off for spring. We have a lot of special guests, but this one in particular, we're going to dive more into the social media marketing, 1. 2, how you can be a content creator in the independent clientele in the creative space. And 3, motherhood, because she has an amazing son and she has been able to really kind of cultivate her own entrepreneurship in her own business while having a family. So without further ado, I'm going ahead and bring in my special guest, Miss Toi. And it's so great because it's kind of full circle because like how she was able to kind of cultivate her career was through Queens of Production. So I kind of want to give her some gems on how like people can be able to use Queens of Production for their benefit. So let me go ahead and bring her on. Hey, Jerry, I miss you, girl. If people can understand the stories that we had to deal with. Okay, let's see if she's on. Oh, you from Hawaii. Okay, come on vacation. I hope the bus is there. Hey, my beautiful queen.
Hey.
Aesthetic. She said office here.
You know, I had to do it for the content because you can't tell the girlies that you into content. You can't bring a little background, a little drama.
Listen, period. Oh my gosh. So let's go ahead and dive in because before we was over here prepping and we like bled over into 608. So we're going to go ahead and introduce you, my queen, as we kick off our IG Live Talk. I am so amazed with Miss Toi, like, girl, how we first met, okay, and how you've been able to really elevate yourself into your own business, your own like go-getter. You travel. Shout out to the people who are traveling. Jerry looked like she's from Hawaii. She in Hawaii chilling. Okay. She's been able to travel all over and be able to advocate and help other content creators, independent clientele who need a little push, a little gig in their little social media spaces and marketing specifically heavy. She is able to cultivate that in the social media space and management and all the jazz. So before we go into anything and into her agency, the Toi Monét Agency Boutique, I want to go ahead and give you, listen, I'm going to give you a good background. And as me as a producer,
give me a read, honey. Give me a read.
Oh, I'm going to give you a read. I'm a producer. That's what we do. We read and interview. We give good questions. So be prepared and get ready for the ride we're about to explore. Miss Toi, tell me where you're from and give me a little bit of how you just got introduced to us. Because of course, I'm from Cali. So I bump into everybody and anybody in many spaces. But Toi, we have a beautiful story. So tell me where you're from and how we met.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Okay, so navigating the entertainment streets. I am actually from, give it a drum roll for the Midwest. I'm from Michigan. Whoopsie, all my friends are here. Shout out to my business coach, Andra Williams. Hey, Mom. Hey, Amanda, girl. And how we actually met, navigating the streets of LA. I want to give a shout out to Dream Chasers, who is actually this group, a nonprofit rather, that took kids from Flint, Michigan and introduced them to careers in entertainment. So that kind of fed the bug as far as getting to LA for me. And then from there, baby, one thing about me, I started off my career as a porter, honey, which means I'm in everybody's business, okay? And I think between navigating Facebook groups, getting on the ground and actually getting to getting into the production roles and pitching myself for products. And then even coming across the page, because I can't remember if you had started or not.
I got started around 2020 when we first was sitting down. I feel like in entertainment, we sat our asses down so many times. Like 2020, we sat our ass down because we keep trying not to die and be around each other. Then we tried to come back and the strike set us again. Girl, it's just amazing. But yeah, 2020 is when I first started QOP. And that's when you really like were the first, like when I tell you I got my OGs, Toi is the OG. Like She was the first out of the small group that really came to that meeting out of the 30, 40 of us. There's a few others that are also in the group as well. Ashley, Jerry, and all of them that were in that core that really was that stamp of QOP in the beginning of really being a resource collective. And through the different knowledge of me throwing all the information, you've just catched it like a spice, a dream catcher of yourself, and used it for your benefit. And so what was the first thing that, or first project in any of the spaces that led you from finding QOP to getting that first job for you, that first entry level in the door?
Ooh. Okay, so before you guys knew me as like a content girly, I was just navigating the social media streets. And one thing that people sleep on, or I feel like is a hidden gem about LA, is that people get jobs from social media, specifically Facebook. These Facebook groups, like these posts, these people, and it's like connections through connections. And I think maybe my first gig with wardrobe probably was from a Queens of Production post where I actually, because you don't, and to actually see it on Instagram where somebody's consistently posting entertainment jobs, whether it's for wardrobe, whether it's for assisting, whether it's for working on a show. So to see like a group that actually, or a woman, one, let's talk about credibility, had Inside Connects, was a producer and host on television, but also wasn't into gatekeeping and was spreading those opportunities, really like led me to get my feet wet and to continue to shift me into other opportunities. That's what it was. Shout out Local Zero Heroes, period.
Yes, well, not the Local Zero Heroes. Shout out to my mentee, Ashanti. She's actually a part of our mentor project that as we kind of go into our little gems down the line, we are opening back up the Queen of Story mentorship program. Yes, and also shout out to Who You Know, shout out to Bree Frank and that whole camp. It literally, they were the ones that helped me kind of captivate, and also women working in reality TV. That actually helped me once I finished Bring It and didn't know what AP to go. Like, it helped me to kind of like jump into different spaces. So while y'all had the slide in the DMs, we had Craigslist, Facebook, and maybe a hit or miss of LinkedIn. If you were lucky and you paid the premium for a month.
Oh, baby. I was a little too broke for LinkedIn Premium.
Oh my gosh, I feel like every like account now, it feels like an app. Like for like, do I want to go like staff me up Disney, or do I want to go to Tubi, Craigslist? So touche. So when you got the first position, like how did you feel? Like were you in the moment? Like what were some of the like tool belts that helped you kind of prepare for that first job?
Honestly, it was a little bit of a blur, to be honest with you, because there were a lot of like there were a lot of, so if you know LA, we've got some LA people here, we've got some Midwest people here, so in merging the two, when you get to LA and you're working a lot of production gigs or acting or background or casting, often these are 1 to 2 day projects. Sometimes you'll get lucky and it'll be a couple weeks or months, or you'll get a long-term stay on a show. Yeah. And it's sort of like a hustle. So typically people have, maybe they're waitressing, maybe they're social media managing, maybe they're writing for the Jasmine brand or working red carpets. And so it's kind of this consistent flow. And so I think when I got my first one, I was just like, I don't even think it was paid, to be honest with you. I think I had a couple of before. And then it was just like production assistant work. And if you know, then it's kind of the hardest, the grittiest. Yep. And I was just excited, looking around to be there, happy to get my little check at the end of the day.
Yes. And so like, and you know what's so crazy? Because like I was telling people these last couple weeks, like LA is different. Like we was talking about this beforehand. Like I feel like before, it's like BC 80, like before COVID, and then after, I'll say AC after COVID. Before COVID, like LA, like when we were even here, like background, you can kind of have a good, decent living doing background work. Now, after COVID, it's like barely. Producers are not even getting the right amount of rate that they can. So, where do you feel like you kind of like, okay, my background, everything, I kind of had a flow creatively. Where did it kind of shake up for you, and what did you have to do to pivot? Because I feel like a lot of people do not know how to pivot. Mm-hmm. And you do a really good job at pivoting, and not only pivoting, but excelling in the pivot and letting other people know about the little gems of your pivoting. So what was the first time you had to pivot? I know probably it was pandemic, but was it beforehand?
Oof. It was, to be honest with you, it definitely was pandemic, because shout out to my baby Kenzo. He was a pandemic baby.
Yeah. Like shout out to the pandemic babies.
I'm not in the
They
entertainment
smart.
industry, but LA is definitely not for the weak, baby. It's
Mhm.
not.
No.
And I think especially navigating and diversifying was, I think, one of the most difficult things for me, right? So I had nailed a stable gig that was just as a reporter, right? I got back to my roots. But during COVID, one of the things that was most difficult was sort of juggling and like positioning myself to like make more income. Because to be honest, I didn't really start making a decent living until I left Los Angeles. Because between rent, well, actually, no. I had gotten into wardrobe and I was booking wardrobe gigs, and those were kind of coming steady. But even during the pandemic, like, whew, let me see, masking us up during sets, and then that was before the strike. But
the test
pieces
after
like
test after test.
yes,
Yeah.
they were not playing. You guys, you had to take before you could even get on set. Everybody was masked up. They were not. They know, but they weren't. They were masked up. We had to wear masks all the time. You had to get a COVID test. I think every week before you got on set, so you had to go to an outside source, like play all the things. It was a
It was a
lot.
lot.
But hey, Michelle. But that self-sustaining piece came with working production, which was kind of my solid bread and butter. But then that kind of creating the content, like I started working for the Jasmine brand. I was doing articles here and there. And then when I became a part-time writer on staff, that's when I was like, oh, wow. So using your brain or your skill set to kind of, and the knowledge that you have to work yourself into a space. And so I hadn't exactly did social media management when I was in LA, but essentially that spirit of creating a digital persona, doing things like creating branding, creating marketing from the walls of my brick apartment was where that was birthed. And so even taking that same skill set when I came back to Michigan and was like trapping out my parents' basement again with this fresh baby, was taking that same skill of knowledge that again was born in LA, that hustle, that grit, and using it to become a digital entrepreneur. And also being like honest about that. Like, hey y'all, I think actually my first post that really launched me into entrepreneurship and essentially started my company. I was like, I'm tired. I got a baby. I've been applying for jobs. Nobody's biting. I feel frustrated, but I'm just going to rest in this. I know what type of God I serve. I know who my God is. Yeah. And I'm gonna just let it breathe. And would you know, I said I was available for work at the very end of that post. And someone commented and it landed to like one of my highest paid contracts to date. So I was like, okay, this is a thing. Like it works. Jesus works, and so does the transparency piece.
Period. And I would even say that to you, like when I like around that same time in 2020 during the pandemic, I was around working in the field as an associate producer and bouncing left and right, doing shows, do competition, unscripted reality. Shout out to reality TV because people be hating on us, but we making the coin, okay? And we still making it work. And so when 2020, when we sat down. Well, not really sat down. It was I was in the midst of a transition. So I was doing Legendary and they had given us an opportunity to go into post. I didn't know nothing about Avid, didn't touch Avid, but I'm going to tell them people that I knew Avid. And baby, I just was telling this to one of my friends the other day. I was like, wow, from being able to learn, being able to have the position as a story producer. And I remember learning Avid remotely during the pandemic with a yoga ball and a small little desk. And a little computer because I didn't have a full beautiful little thing. Okay, we had to make it work because we were in LA. Okay, the yoga ball and a little table and made that work. Okay, so just like for you, and you had to use your resources. When you give me the moment that it now given full circle. Well, like you said, you had one of the biggest companies that gave you like your biggest highest rate ever. Actually, I'm gonna flip it because I love the interesting part of marketing and branding because for us as producers, we don't know that part. We need to market and brand our stuff. Like I think I was talking to on our last IG Live talk in February with CJ Faison, shout out to him, and the beauty amazing documentary that he had in Netflix. But he talks about how marketing and branding, he still promotes his documentary till this day. Like I want to say it dropped like last year and he's still going on runs. So for you, as us as creatives, producers, showrunners, and everything, why is marketing social media so important for us in our content that we're trying to push?
Ooh, it's so good because honestly, people are nosy to cut it down. But two, it's so difficult and there can kind of be like this idolatry of go to the next project. Like you're only as good as your next project. But to be honest, that's not true. Your accomplishments have longevity when you promote them. And so even though it's maybe not as current, right? And one thing you even learn about the Hollywood culture, you know, if y'all live in LA, you know when you run to a home girl that was in a Netflix documentary, 2 years back, but it's still gonna put that up at the top front.
Listen,
interview all these people, but it's still, it might have been a couple years ago, but they're still, and so that goodness or that accomplishment does not die. And so the importance of marketing yourself as a producer or as someone in entertainment who's maybe traditionally used to just being handed jobs or pieces like that is because people are looking to give you work and to give you opportunity. And so putting yourself on the forefront and saying, hey, I'm attached to this project, I did this, not only builds a social credibility, but for the people who think you're interesting or who are admiring for you from afar, they're looking for your work. And so having those pieces out there not only serves as like this online digital resume, but it says, hey, I'm here, I'm present, I'm able to accomplish these things. And it like leaves a little bit of a check mark in people's, I put you at the top of their brain, to be honest with you.
Like they said, shout out to Andra, if I'm saying this correctly. She said, your accomplishments have no expiration date. That is true, in fact. And so for you, what was one project, you can say most of these general, because you know, NDA. What was one favorite project that you worked on that you were able to be your fully creative self? Because sometimes you get a job and it's like, oh my God, it's a 9 to 5. Like I got to kind of work on their creative. But then there's other times too where there's a client that really doesn't know the ins and outs and kind of lets you paint the canvas. So when you have that chance, what does that look like?
Ooh, can I half and half it?
Yeah, you can. Okay, we can sugarcoat like some cream of coffee.
Okay, here. So when I was in LA, and I can say her name. Okay, Jennifer Johnson, amazing little white lady. Okay, got the cats, but she's one of the top costume designers in LA. Okay. And as a production assistant, she allowed me to come on her set, but also like to be the full me, right? So I think one day I came in, child, I had on these vintage Escada pants. They was red. I had on this red ruffled shirt. My braids was down to my butt. But like when I tell you she's like, oh, hey, I like your outfit. And mind you, JJ up in some Birkenstocks and pants. But to be able to, and one reason why I love fashion and even like will always tie back to those styling roots is because like the freedom of people of color, just people across the board getting to show up how they wanted to. And just as long as you did your job, like that's fine. That was freeing for me. And to not have to like dim myself down, that was amazing.
Wow.
And two, I guess even one of my most favorite moments now, right? So I have a client, we actually just got back from the retreat in Aruba, and I'm just like, okay, like, let me be over your content. And she's just like, okay, fine, whatever it is. Yeah. I have the group of clients that I've been working with now, and I'm just like, okay, let's go with this strategy. All right, I'm showing up. I got on my Crockies. I'm denim on denim. I'm rolling over bed.
Denim on denim.
Denim on denim, honey. And then I'm producing these videos and saying, okay, can I pick the song? Bet. You know what? You got it, girl. And so being able to be that creative, no strings attached, just like showing up as my fullest self is not only just freeing, but it allows the gift that God gave to me to kind of work freely. So that's honestly moving forward and kind of in terms of building my own business. And I talk about this a lot with my coach, hey, girl, is really just making sure that I have clients that I genuinely enjoy. And that is the freedom piece that I love about being an entrepreneur.
Awesome. And so for us that need a content creator production, what is maybe the do's and don'ts, especially for your agency that you have created, the Toi Monét Agency Boutique?
Okay. What are the do's and don'ts of
being like having content creator production? Like what would be my do's and don'ts if I'm coming in as a client and I'm like looking for some things? Because sometimes, like, for example, I'll come in as a client and I think I want the C in Aruba and I got maybe a downtown LA budget. That would maybe be a don't because, you know, maybe my budget's not looking at what my mind can see. So what would be some do and don'ts for you in your agency?
I definitely, so we do not, baby, we don't do micromanagers. Ooh. That's number one.
Ooh, number I would say all across the board.
Your authenticity is your superpower, right? And typically you come in with a knowledge base. You know about your audience. You know how they support you. You know what posts they resonate with. You know what makeup they like, if they like a little bit more of your personality, if they respond to a little bit more of you like suited and booted versus you like out chilling. And if you don't, there's signs that you can read in the data. But also, like, sometimes people can hire somebody and they'll look to them as like, oh my gosh, what do I do next? Or what do I do next? So I really try and empower my clients and let them know, like, hey, okay, this is you. Like, you have a skill set that you're bringing to the table as well, and your people are there because of your personality. So show that. But also, too, a saying that I always say is, I can only amplify what's already there. Our job as with content and as a social media agency is to take what you have going on, the work that you've been putting in. Yeah. And that's why we only accept like a certain level of client, right? Because that means you've been out there hustling and selling your product. You've been providing a service to people that they enjoy, and pieces like that. When you've been doing the work, then it's easy to amplify. But if you're just kind of sitting back, like, waiting, maybe might post, maybe not post, maybe even aren't necessarily putting your product out there, then I don't know, like, you can't expect things to kind of instantly or overnight happen. Like, if you set down a foundation, Matthew Knowles, who was I did an interview with Watch the Duck, which is a group they used to represent, but they were just like, Matthew Knowles is always like, activity breeds activity. And so you have to use that same concept within your business, but also within your content. So get consistent and post, even if you're not exactly excited about the way it looks, even if you want it to be better. Everybody has a starting point, and from that starting point, there's value.
And so I have a question for you, and maybe something that you provide for your agency. What does some type of examples of content production look like? So like, I know for you, like, I've kind of poked in like a fly on the wall. You've done some stuff where you've done behind the scenes for conferences and live awards and things like that, which is a lot popular, common in Atlanta, in LA, so you're going to be booked and busy. And then there's also too where it's personal stuff, where it's like baby showers or people's intimate spaces. And then there's other spaces too where it's someone that has a brand or a product that they want to be, and they don't want to be the face. They may show their hands or something like that, or may hire an actor or something to do some little stuff, and you can assist maybe a little directing. So for your agency, and especially, let me just be an example, I'm coming in with a low budget.
Okay.
What would be the best choice for me as far as my production and where I should go? And for me in particular, I am doing a entertainment summit for ages 18 through 28. And okay. I'm giving, panels to intimate classroom stuff. However, because, sometimes there's a little twist, I do want to make it intimate in some parts, especially the classroom. So I don't want to give too much of that, but I do want to have like some type of content space for showing the summit overall.
Okay. So if you coming in, I'm gonna give y'all a game right here. So anybody who's listening, this is just
you get free game right now. The people in the audience right here. So get your pens and papers ready.
Okay, period. So I'm gonna show you your tools, right? You got a tripod, you need a tripod, okay? Steady video will get you far. All you need is really a clear, steady video. And so, your smartphone, your iPhone, or your Android to kind of make it pop, right?
Right.
Next up, you want some sort of light. You have a ring light. If you have a little one of these, if you got another light, you need a light source to make it pop. But for real, when you're talking about, okay, you're starting an event, you want it to look quality, your budget for marketing is kind of like, not quite there. I would suggest a 3-part strategy, right? So first off, tell people the meat and the benefits of what it is about your event and kind of why it's shining, right? For you, for example, you're a Hollywood insider. Not only that, you have exclusive connections within the industry. So think about intriguing titles that people are really going to want to learn around Hollywood. For instance, landing their first job, navigating with higher ups, how to network at pieces, which are things that are a little bit confusing. So the audience that you want to have, that demographic, whatever their pain points are, you latch onto those, and those titles specifically is going to start to entice them to go ahead and register for the event, right? So that's one piece. 2, invest in them graphics. And I'm talking about like, that could either look like a graphic designer that or specifically that could look like a Fiverr, that could look like a Canva. But having solid brand photos adds like a luxury feel to your event, but also lets people know like, hey, I'm willing to invest in myself. And because of that, it kind of starts like the flow of money that's coming in, but also letting people know that, okay, getting them ready to invest in your event as well. One thing that you have and what you're really strong at is you have a very consistent live presence. And I say use your guests to your advantage. So say it's maybe 3 to 4 people, 5 people, however many. So what you want to do is capitalize off their audience. So in terms of preparing for your actual event, go live once a week, twice a week with your guests. Make sure maybe it's not actually just about the event. Maybe it's about the topic, and like something that their audience is going to be interested. And then you tease into the event at the end. Hey, actually, you're watching this live, 20% off. So that starts to build like awareness and pieces like that. And then the last part of the strategy, I would say ads. Maybe it's $1 a day. Maybe it's $2 a day on Facebook. But don't sleep on Facebook, because specifically if you're navigating like an entertainment world, you can hone in on your audience and specifically use ads to focus on the people that you're wanting to serve and to come to your space.
Ooh,
that was a lot.
That was some good jams. Oh my God, what's that jam? What's that little meme or gif that had Lil Wayne on it? Like, ooh, oh my God, that was some fire right there. Oh my gosh. And then tending to the audience, I will actually give y'all the opportunity. So if you have a topic, like she said, mic drop. If you have a topic or something that you are interested in that may need some content creator specific production assistance, drop it on the comments, because I'm giving you, listen, since we have a little audience today, we have a little intimate safe to get one topic, okay? One. So while we get the topic flowing and going from our audience, make sure you put it down in the comments. We'll see who the best one will give, and we'll let Toi decide. What was maybe a challenge for you? And specifically, we'll go into motherhood. So, of course, you have a beautiful family. You have a beautiful son. And tell me kind of your moment, because I know sometimes, like, as a content, like a freelance entrepreneur, you were in a groove, you were in a path, and then once you had that little, oh, I'm adding another addition to the family, now I got a lot of additional things to look into. So for you, especially transitioning into your, like transitioning into a business, transitioning into now you had to have like your own creative. Tell me, was it a challenge, or was it kind of like even more of a like special moment for you when your son was born?
Ooh.
I know I'm giving you some deep questions.
I know. Well, that's a little twofold, right? Because I had a fresh baby about a wedlock, okay? That was not my original plan for life. And so in figuring that out, one of the biggest things, or the tanks where I was just like, I don't know if I can do this, is because I have a love for career and pursuing just my business, to be honest with you. Like, that's the freedom of getting to pick and choose my career and to take advantage of opportunities has always like thrilled me, has always fueled me, navigating entertainment, like navigating the digital space. And so adjusting and kind of coming into motherhood was like hella difficult. That was actually one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, because as a woman, you shift. Because for me, for my instance, I became a mother before I became a wife. And so in navigating that space, I'm just like, okay, well, what does motherhood and entrepreneurship look like for me? How do I balance? And I really had to kind of grapple, because I'm just like, you could almost become resentful in that space when you're just like, damn, I miss being out and about and kind of like having these opportunities or getting to do X, Y, Z. And so reworking it to include like, oh no, Kenzo, like my son is a part of my journey. So there's been times where I've had to take him along with me. Like I put him on my back. I'm like, all right, be quiet while I do this interview, and like thugged it out. Or he knows how to set up a phone to do.
I need to see that for my own eyes. Oh my God, you gonna have a little future camera operator,
baby. Architect. Like he's always like in the camera pieces like that. And so really navigating and pulling him onto my journey, and then just like leaning on God. But the joint was tough. And then actually, I didn't really tell anybody, but it's us three on live, or however many, 5, 10, however many are watching this. I actually took a secret trip back to LA most recently. Like I didn't tell anybody, and I brought Kenzo, because I'm like, my baby gonna travel with me, period. Okay, if he can, and I hop him up on that plane. Yeah. And so to go back and like you mentioned, like just seeing all the changes, right, baby, inflation, but also kind of imagining, okay, if I would have stayed, how would this have been, or how would this have worked out? And so I think even going back to the question where you asked me earlier, like the pivot, I think you can incorporate people on your journey. And that personal branding piece, especially through content, is so important, because I think people think that they have to show up on social and be perfect, but it's okay to say, you know what, I'm confused. I don't like the stage of life right now. Maybe I'm struggling financially and I'm broke. I ain't waxed my chin in like 4 weeks, or I'm having pieces. And so, one, to be authentic, Two, to be able to, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here actually, but to be able to like bring my son in on that experience for me has been like a real deal blessing. But it's also something that I hang on to because I think kids in particular can be a blessing if you shift your lens, but they can also feel like a burden, right? Because it's all this shifting that has to take place for a little human. So the way that I do it is I'm just like, all right, like you enjoy the things I enjoy. Okay, you just got here. You know, we fresh up in this relationship.
Yeah.
So let's have fun. I like Van Gogh. You all like Van Gogh too. Come on, we go to the thing. All right. Mommy has to do interviews right now. Boom, here's Paw Patrol, here's some headphones, like I gotta edit on the laptop or like pieces like that. And I try not to put so much weight on myself because I'm just like, okay, like I'm not always going to get this right. And girl, I was crying yesterday. I'm like, oh my goodness, is he having a good time? Like, am I doing okay? But just keeping going, I think has been my fuel. And then also too, just being like giving myself freedom and space to explore and say, well, I am his mother. I am also a woman and an entrepreneur, and there's space for all of those things to exist.
Oh, shout out to the moms out there, especially I know in post-production, like there's a lot of people, especially being in post-production during the pandemic, a lot of people started going into that space because they started to wanting to have families and like be out there. And I used to have a couple projects of people being moms from the PA level to EP level, and the way that they handle things different than, I mean, shout out to the single people, you know, y'all could be on set all day and then get some drinks afterwards. Mamas can't do that. They can't do that. Where is that meme where Nene Leakes is like, I want to go home? Like, she's like, where you going? And he's like, I'm going home. That's the mothers. Like, they just want to go home and just be focused and doing their stuff. Let's see. This sums up the question. Being vulnerable, giving space for the duality of two worlds to coexist. Ooh, girl, you just gave us a whole little gem and sum up of what you are as your mantra. Wow. And so maybe for you, what was your favorite project that you had as a challenge? As a challenge. Not one that you were successful, that was a challenge. And God, what was the challenge? Because we don't sometimes, like you said, like me also learning too in the social media space. I be thinking people be perfect. Like they have their setups ready, they have a team, they have everything ready to grow, they got their lights, and they're gonna go in their content. Or sometimes, like you said, you have the lights and all the stuff. But what happens if you don't have lights? And sometimes you get lost in the route of the destination you got to go to. What was maybe one good experience that you had that was a challenge?
Ooh, a good experience, but a challenge. I was saying Bianca came in the party for a little bit, but I don't know if she's here, so left out. Yeah. But I had to be like 8 or 9 months pregnant. I was a production assistant on I can't remember the brand, but it was a national commercial. And she needed hats for like a football team or one of the extras or one of the backgrounds. And so I think I must have drove. It was midtime traffic. I went from, we were downtown LA to Culver City to Glendale doing returns, looking for hats. So I'm 8 months pregnant.
PA, shout out to the PAs, because let me tell you something. The PAs,
you got me rubbing my head.
PAs, they put y'all to some work. But I've been seeing a lot of PAs literally lately been turned into some EPs. So
really,
I literally saw two people that I saw that were PAs on shows that I were on.
Really,
probably two of them I saw literally on Facebook. One of them got an Emmy, and then another one got an Emmy for a project that he was still producing. Yeah, shout out,
the PAs are
go. They on the go, and you never know who is across. So if anybody's on this live, just make sure that you love on people. You never know.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that was the hardest part because I'm just like physically, you know, I'm big. Trying to find these gosh darn hats.
That's disrespectful. Why would they have you do hats? And I know in LA it was heat either. What was it around that time? Was it summer or was it the fall that you was a PA for?
It was a little bit fall, but it was probably like 70 something. Not enough to me like a light jacket.
But you know,
I'm going.
Sometimes LA be getting hot when that sun be getting right, especially downtown.
But like, can you imagine running around LA, hopping from city to city, trying to find a specific colored hat and a specific colored style in 10 different sizes, and like checking the online. First we went to the, like, you know, you go to the little joints where they be having downtown, and it's just like, Yes, when you go on 3rd Street and find the little hats with no labels. That was a challenge. That's where I'm like, costuming, preggers, like.
So wait, what made you decide to go to wardrobe when having that experience? Because you said that you did it for a little bit.
They was paying. I like clothes, and they was paying. They was cutting a check in wardrobe, okay? They was cutting a check. I worked on some castings before. They was trying to like a little free.
I would never do casting. I can't do casting. First of all, it's just too many talent that have my phone number and have contact to you. And if they don't get into a show, they'll probably be like bothering you. It's just too many energies to have to follow up with. It's too much. And it's too much posting at the same time. It's like multi-taneously. It's like when I was in the syndication world. Shout out to people who was in my syndication world. If you know, you know.
If you know, fashion, PA, assisting, casting. Like there's all these different levels. Wow. So, can I turn on you?
Yes.
So
you can.
How have you felt like? Do you feel like in your world, especially like in production or as a producer, that you're in need of content, or do you feel like is there becoming more of a need, or is there like more favoritism with people who do have followings, or two, are you going to use it just like as like a networking tool or as a personal brand building tool, especially as Queens of Production, your very successful page website.
Thank you. Oh my God, like I be feeling literally the amount of love I've been getting on QOP. I'm like, dang, like for real, because when I started this page, it's still been me, okay, and I've literally hired a social media manager. Shout out to my girl, Sarah. She's my social media manager for QOP. But before that, it was just me posting, reposting. Since I was in the pandemic, I didn't have no job. You know what I'm saying? I was going in and out. So what was I doing? I was trying to build up that page, girl. Trying to get the likes and the follows. Organically. Because, sometimes they be trying to block you. Stuff. Back then, they would block you every 10 seconds. So you had to organically get your followers. But I would say for me in my space, hell yeah, we need content creators. I was like, in fact, the strikes really woke up. I think the pandemic, it sprinkled the awareness, but now with AI and now, like, for instance, the rise of podcasts and people getting accolades quickly in these like social media pockets, people I think are now looking at their eyes like, oh, where can I fit in? And I think the problem with it is that they think that they can use their skills and it'll easily transition. But the problem is that, especially that I actually did a show last year that was heavily like, it was like a content creator based clip show where think of like ridiculousness, but for like content creator, like social media videos, like Flash, instead of like videos you get from YouTube. And so learning that most of these content creators got talent agents and agencies, and they part of like CAA and WME and international. Like most of these people was from the UK. Shout out to Jelly Smack, because that's where most of them are over there. And so I was learning and all that stuff, and they was like wanting money. And some of the fees, they was like, some of the producers who were old school Hollywood, they was like, yeah, we're gonna give it for $20. I'm like, no, they want $1,000. They said this ain't even half of what they getting in 10 seconds when they just pop on social media for 10 seconds. So that's what got me interested, one. And two, I'm seeing a lot of like, the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and different groups, diversity groups really collab with like Netflix and like all these things as, we're starting to grow into bringing diversity into the job force a little bit more. But the problem I'm seeing is a lot of them are not promoting themselves. I'm getting a lot of email distribution on my emails every 10 seconds. Goddamn, I had to spam some of them. But I'm not seeing them like how I am, like going on live and like really getting to the people and like making it a vulnerable space that we feel we can get in. I still feel like there is gatekeeping. I still feel like there's a problem of this only a small pipeline, because, and bringing up to the bigger issue that I think is that with DEI is that we feel like we have to understand, we have to build social media and content and bring ourselves out there, because the programs and the spaces that we feel like we are in are not really specifically for us. Because you got to think diversity is not just Black. It is Asian. It is everybody. It is not just race. It is disability. It is gender. Think of all that going into a pipeline, and we only maybe have 2 or 3 producer position roles. Who do you think is going to get it? Not all the black people. They may put one of me out of maybe 200 that may be applied. And now I still have my tribe who now with these double strikes and being affected, AI and all the things, a lot of people are not getting work. And so they don't know how to pivot. And I feel like social media really has helped me to understand the pivot, because I feel in the marketing and all that stuff is coming to y'all now. Because y'all getting some money. Like, I just like, what really woke me up is when I saw TikTok have a music live show on Hulu. I mean, they're trying to ban them, but TikTok has a power. Like, TikTok has even become like the new YouTube University. Like, we're getting our knowledge and our education, like, because the government is trying to dictate that. And we're like, oh, that's bad. Social media has kind of been our safe haven. But I feel like as a creative, as a person in my space, I feel like I'm like a student in the game. Like, I still don't know. Like, hell, I be still trying to figure out, like, when you be DMing me some stuff, I'm like, what? Like, I could set up a schedule. Like, how do I do that? So then I'm going on TikTok, trying to figure out how to do, And so for you, if I'm like a baby to the game, what would be like 2 tips that you would give for me? Like, if I don't have the money, like if I do have the money for a content agency like yourself, what would be some things that I need to kind of already have before coming to you?
Okay, so we definitely say like a foundation, right? So one thing where you may not have, you're like, okay, let's just say you're just like, I'm struggling with revenue. Like, I haven't exactly put on specific revenue generating things. I haven't sold anything. I've built this audience, but I don't even know if they're gonna buy. I think one, providing a space of value. So that's one. 2, like you mentioned, hosting an event and pieces like that where it's just like, okay, I'm ready. 3, forming relationships with people that show there's a good service exchange. For instance, maybe you put out a email list or like something that they can actually purchase to kind of be on, right? Maybe you're like, okay, like I kind of want to brand Queens of Production. Let me get some pictures or some headshots taken. They got affordable. Like, you can get like affordable headshots and things like that.
Yeah.
Like things that are showing I have invested in my brand. Like, I'm willing to take it the next step. And you can also, people have came to me and they're just like, okay, well, I've been doing the work silently and it's been happening, but I'm not sure how to bring that to the forefront. Well, let's kind of talk about what are some of the services that you offer. With Queens of Production, you've connected how many hundreds or how many thousands or dozens of people to opportunities in the production space. Start getting some testimonials and pieces like that, saying, hey, are you looking for? And then also too, you're definitely allowed to do polls with your audience and see like, these niggas trying to buy something. So, why do they follow?
This is different because like I know some people want to be out there, but and I'll include myself, because Queens of Protection, what I really do like is that it's like that via vendetta. Like, some people, like when I pop in, like for instance, this panelist that I just went to, and people like, they know the, like for instance, it's the Issa Rays and the Shonda Rhimes and all that stuff. And so when they saw my name, it was kind of like, oh, okay. And then the speaker, she like set aside to me. She was like, you done a lot of stuff. And so I'm excited to know like a little bit more, right? And so she did my introduction, and then I was able to speak up a little bit about Queens of Production, and I saw so many people in the audience like eyes light up, like, oh my God, like I follow Queens of Production. Yeah. So I like that it's like people don't know me until they find out. Also too, I like how other people connect too, because they're like, oh, I follow Queens of Production, or oh, I got this through you, through that, and it kind of is like a secret little club a little bit in a way. Yeah. But I do want to find little twist ways, because I do go live and I do give out that olive branch before I close the branch a little bit. And so I do like the tips that you do have. And I think that's some of the things that directors and people who are doing their own short films, projects, and things like that need to keep in mind for, especially in their content. Like, social media ain't going nowhere. It's actually elevating. And for you, where have you seen the elevation of social media. Of course, we have been talking all day long about AI, ChatGPT. Now we done had Sora, who actually, OpenAI, has actually done presentations with some certain Hollywood executives and different companies who've introduced Sora to their camps, and a few of them already are testing it out. Allegedly, I heard Tyler Perry. So, where do you see the evolution of social media? Now we're kind of gravitating into some upgrades in technology coming again.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of actually like overstimulated buyers, to be honest, because it's kind of like giving so much of, oh, she's trying to sell something or like this. So I think really resonating and leaning on that, hey, this is real, hey, this is behind the scenes, like this is what my process looks like. Because people are also, I mean, our buyers are intelligent, right? They want to know, what does your actual behind the scenes process look like? What does it look like as a day in the life on an actual set? What does it like those behind the scenes pieces, or hey, what is it actually like navigating Hollywood? Like live talks about how to land your first gig and like 3 things that you need. And also too, so that sophistication or that piece I see is that people are really looking to learn like more about the story on social, and they're like getting rated so annoyed with like just your general cookie cutter content. And I appreciate the fact that, I don't know, people are just looking for original stuff. And so you can kind of consistently create trends and I think, hop on a trending audio and just do your little dance or whatever, but actually creating like mature, produced, fully well thought out content seems like it's still being a game changer, and people are evolving with their stories. Like I'm seeing a lot of original creators. I'm seeing a lot of creativity. I'm seeing a lot of like people being more thoughtful with their actual production process in their short form video content. And so I believe that's a trend that's going to continue to stay.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's deep. And so as we kind of get up into our 7:00 realm, please give us our comments at the bottom if you have any like tips or any questions that you have for Toi here. And so before we leave out of here, I kind of want to talk about, what's ahead for you and your agency. So what have been some projects that you have been kind of grafting into? And if someone is looking like for content agency space, like what are you looking out for? Like what gravitates to your agency?
So with the Toi Monét Agency, which is a boutique social media marketing agency, specifically, we are having clients who are looking forward to their CEO year. So what this looks like is like sales supporting content, which really we lean in. We actually work with the offer strategist. Hey, Andrew Williams, to really make sure that the things and the revenue generating things, or your pricing, you're like, I don't know how much to charge for this service, but I know I'm making good, that those things are solid. So as we're making content that's for real for your ideal audience, that it makes sense and that it resonates with them, and then it captures like their feeling piece. So we are focusing on, when I say sales supporting from our agency, like, okay, fine, it is about building the brand and building like stable community there, but we try to make this bread at the end of the day. Like we are looking to incorporate hundreds and thousands into your business. And so that's not something that happens overnight. And so our goal is really helping our CEOs, like typically CEOs who have been doing this thing for a while, right? They got good results. They have testimonials and pieces like that to actually back it up. They have their process together, but they're like, I'm ready to scale, I'm ready to elevate, and I'm ready to take my business to the next level. And so what our agency does is say, hey, we see if you're a good fit. We take a look at the application, but women who are specifically, or CEOs, strategists, speakers who are specifically in that space and who are like, I'm ready to grow my business and to make more money than I'm already making. That is our sweet spot. So you all can find out more information. Feel free to follow me on this page, Toys of the World, but also Toi Monét Agency. We have 2 slots left for our CEO year, and that is our piece. We would love to serve you and helping become the additional team to help grow your business.
Wow. Okay. Well, if anybody's over here trying to grow their business, I know I am. I may have to fill out an application, okay, to be able to do that. But it has been such an amazing joy to talk to you. And I think the last question before we tap out of here is mental health. Girl, being a creative, it is hard. It is a struggle. And I know, especially for you being in motherhood and everything, like, you even had to topple a lot, even more mental health, and bring on another life. And so for you, why is mental health so important for our community, our creative community? And how had you had to combat mental health in some of your creative journey?
Ooh,
Before the
girl, how
baby
long do
and
you
after the
got?
baby. We'll do two-parter. Before the baby and after the baby.
Ooh, girl. Ooh,
I
sweetheart.
know, what's up, hitter?
Ah, mental health is like everything. Kirk Franklin had an interview with the Breakfast Club, and he was like, "It's so hard for a lot of creatives, and many people struggle with just mental health issues, whether it be bipolar, depression, mania. All those pieces is because creativity. It's a special, enhanced version of yourself that you're tapping into,
Right.
right? And because you pour a lot, um, you have to feel a lot, and that looks different. Before my son, so I think that I probably was depressed or have been depressed or showing signs of depression for a grip, but I didn't necessarily have the language to identify that. I wasn't in consistent therapy. I just did not have the tools. And so I think I could really see, okay, I've got these frequent moments of activity. I can show up, and then sometimes like I just kind of can't get out of bed. So I will say after my son, and what he really showed me was inadvertently was the importance of slowing down, but also in filling my cup. Like, I have a hard stop. There are some seasons where I can work till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, lay back down, then be up at 6 to do it again. But now, like, I am in a space where I need a lot of capacity. I went to that Aruba and we did content, but those first 2 days, like, I slept.
Yeah.
I need to sleep more. I can't go to bed as late. Like, I need to incorporate more time for like rest and relaxation. I need to have time where I can sit and do nothing. Like, this isn't a season where I can go. Like, I have to move slowly. And I've been able to identify that about myself. And especially from a mental health standpoint, like, I know where I'm at. I know when I'm at my limit. And what that looks like is like actually being enough to say, you know what? I can't say yes to this project. I can't say yes to your fundraiser. I can't say yes to anything aside from getting up, washing my butt, and like going to one location, or also getting people to help me to do that piece. And so I think in terms of like taking care of your mental health and creativity, like, one, it's okay not to be okay. Oh, gosh, I know people say that, but like, for real, these people be on here cute on Instagram, beating their face, and then like crying the mascara tears, or like drinking wine, or like using all these things. Like, you're one, not the only one. Two, you have to figure out what filling up looks like to you. It may not always be like getting your nails done or like your hair done or pieces like that. But is it taking quiet time? Is it getting away from certain people? Is it like getting quiet and getting up in your Bible and just like vibing out? And so I think a lot of people, especially in entertainment, they think that I know you have a heart out. I'll be quick, but you're working on these. You're working on these huge shows with these big budgets and these celebrities, and it's easy for people to be back home and be like, dang, like, you out there killing it, or wow. But you can be completely miserable. You're around a lot of creative personalities, many of whom are struggling with their own mental health stuff. And so you have to get a space where you can get rid of the gunk. Like, in LA, one of the coolest places, the most opportunities, pieces like that, but it is so easy for people to get depressed because it's a rat race out there. So figuring out like whatever helps you chill out is like super important, because if not, you're not gonna last. You're going to crash out, mental breakdown, having a hard time, shift your morals and values, like all those pieces, and it's not worth it. I can't stress more about mental health, but now
I agree too, because mental health, like, even for me, like, you're in this rat race, and then you kind of like deal with so many things in your personal life, dealing with grief. And shout out to Allie. Allie? Yes. Allie. Okay, so like, all the reason why I know Allie is that she follows Queens of Production, and she really, really, really like gives us love. Like, I give her love, like, but she gives us love. And I have been literally following her mentors and everything, and been talking to her. So we need to see her in person, because baby, it's time. It's time. Hey, girl. Yeah, so we'll have to now make it in person. You see how Queens of Production works? Like, we all know it. Now we connected.
Y'all got to go front. You specifically need to have like the way that y'all be like actually post incredible jobs, or the way that like how you connect to people within the industry. Even without that, with jobs slowing down, like explaining to people how they navigate LA, like that's a whole event within itself.
Girl, because LA, like, I'm telling you, LA is so different. And I'm born and raised here, like, born 1992, baby. Okay, I'm born and raised around here. Hey, it's SoCal. So I've seen it change from when I was young. And I lived in North Hollywood and specifically, and I remember like the building that was SAG-AFTRA. That was like the Child Protective Services building, like when I was a kid. Like, baby, no, I'm serious. To it being my first TV job at Pilgrim, and then now it's the SAG building. So I've seen LA change completely. And it was at first, it was community. It was like, being a creative, it was organic. Now it's just like you said, this rat race, and you really got to find your tribe. You got to find your niche. And I've just been able to been just thankful that Queens of Production has been a good resource collective for just everybody in all spaces. And for you too, Toi, because like I've seen you grow, and we've been just cheering you on and being your cheerleader and watching you just grow and being the amazing creative that you are. So you are due for a brunch. You need to come down here, meet you in LA, and be able to do the things. But like I said, I do have a heart out, so I have to be able to kind of wrap this up. But if anything, where can the people follow you and your company, and what are some things that you have coming up that we need to look out for?
I love that. Come here. Lean in. Come here. Follow me at Toys of the World on Instagram, or you can follow my agency page at Toi Monét Agency, ToiMonetAgency. Website coming soon. Things that we have coming up. We've got some articles. We're gonna show some behind the scenes, right?
Yes, I've been waiting because y'all been cooking and been working, and I know some stuff you haven't been able to say everything, but I need some more behind the scenes because the stuff is good.
Period. We're actually doing. I think I can announce this. Okay, we're doing 7-Figure Shift with Epic Fab Girls. So we'll be doing content for that. We're in Atlanta this week. Next week is Chicago. The week after that, doing some hosting things, doing some things. And then also too, later, we're coming out with a podcast, Faith, Finances, and Freedom. But like a real deal, we're gonna break this thing down, because I feel like people be talking about getting money, like $10,000 months, XYZ, or like hitting their 6 figures, but they're not talking about how much they got to spend, or how much their overhead was, or if they had to hit a 10K month and then it was like 0, all those.
Can we even talk about health insurance for people in LA? Like, if you do not have health insurance, this is for my people trying to move to LA. What was that meme that had attention? If you do not have health insurance, they will dock you in your taxes. So, baby, make sure you have if you came in with your parents' health insurance, stay on that mug forever. Okay? Or if you get kicked off for some damn reason, baby, use your unemployment. I know a lot of my people ain't working right now, but get on EDD, get on your EBT, get on your Medi-Cal. Baby, get all the things you need, because if you do not have health insurance, it's going to dock you later. And I'm not saying it from experience, but I just heard from a bird from a word. That is one key that I'll definitely, because you're doing finances, and I think that's one thing as a creative that most people don't know either, is making sure that you have your ducks in a row, especially when you're in your lows. So,
absolutely. Ooh, girl, that's good, baby. Food stamps was on my face. People, I feel like, me too proud. Y'all get on food stamps if you need to. As soon as that unemployment hit, that's one of my favorite things about being below the poverty line.
Okay, being below the line, you need to get all the benefits that you need, because you need to make sure that you ain't overpaying nothing, okay? Especially for my people that are moving over. So, it's been a joy to talk to you, Toi. And like I said, if you have not followed her, make sure you follow her on all the platforms that we have on here. Of course, we always will shout her out on Queens Production, but make sure you follow her at Toi to the World, and also your agency, which is specifically, I think it's the Toi Boutique Agency. Your IG handle?
Toi Monét Agency.
Perfect. But yes, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we have this up on live. So as soon as we have this end on here, if you missed it, you will have the full version of the live. And like we always say with Queens of Production, we always to live, love, and create. Toi, it has been a blessing to be able to chat with you, and such a joy. The next IG Live Talk that we have coming up will be really special, and we will specifically dive about mentorship. So I will be flipping the script. I know a lot of people be like, I need a mentor. What's mentorship? All the things. Well, I'm going to give you the mentors that helped me come along. The first one we have will be April the 9th. And my mentor, who literally has taught me in the game, keep me in the game, and she's still my mentor till this day, Aisha Corpus Wynn. She works with Macro. She's worked with Bunamuri. Literally has been a joy to my heart and been a support for me. And like the knowledge I have is because of her. So we are going to talk with her April the 9th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, at the same time we did for tonight. And then the next day, April the 10th, same time, I will be flipping the script and we will be entering my mentee, Tay. And she is a part of our Queens of Story mentorship program. She's going to talk about her experience being on there. She actually got her beautiful job because, again, of QOP. So I'm going to have her interview me because I think a lot of people don't know, like, how to be a good mentor and how to stay and maintain and being in. It's a relationship. You have to build these things. So all things mentorship the next week. So please make sure you stay tuned of that because I know a lot of people are trying to look for mentors and the biggest thing. And I'll leave this a tip away from you. If you are wanting mentorship and stuff for your program, like, are you looking for mentees and what would be the right protocol to reach out to you for mentorship?
You know what? We are actually going to launch an accelerator. I want to say we're in April now. April, no later than May. And this has been in the works for a little bit to really like take those who are in the digital space and like put them through an accelerator and be like, all right, by the time you're done with this program, like you're going to be making money and not just that, like thriving in the social media and the digital space. There's a lot of social media managers out here that is tired and burnt out and are singles. At one point I was one of them. So pieces like that.
I was almost at that road. The sand was about to be crossed, okay? I was almost there, but I'm still here, Tisha Campbell.
I say slide. I say slide the DM at this point. We all cousins on here. Just feel free to slide the DM if you have any questions.
It is, but listen, let's see if we're gonna make it to 2025 and beyond. And hopefully, you know, I see your like elevation has grown. I hope you get to do behind the scenes for, you know, the Emmys, the Oscars, the NAACPs, all the things. And hopefully we can be able to collab one day because I do need some content creator assistance. So I may be knocking at your door sometime soon.
Yes, honey, when you have your event.
Like I said, I will be knocking at your door soon. Some of the gems and stuff that you would learn, I was over here like, I need to learn for this myself, okay? But like I said, it has been a joy. Hopefully our audience is able to learn your journey, your story, and hopefully follow you as well. So without further ado, you can watch the full live here. If you missed out, so tell a friend, tell a friend, to tell a friend. And shout out to all the people that stood by us through 7 o'clock, 7:11. I know that it's a little late, but hopefully we will see you again April the 9th and the 10th with our mentorship IG Live Talks. And we are about to close out. And with anything, we love to live, love, and create. I will see you later, Toi. We're going to get some brunch.
Yes, we will, girl. It's going to be good.
Bye, girl.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.